Welcome to the EU LCS postgame lobby. I'm Draco, joined by Deficio Vedius and G2's mid laner Perks. Now, Wadid had a pretty heartfelt speech to the people about the player of the game votes. Do you have a response at all? Do you want to like give an argument to the people, look straight down the camera like he didn't say no?
I
Perks for player of the game.
Like there's been many campaigns like made against me in the past, so I'm not like they always win. So it's fine. You guys can vote for Wadid. He deserves it. And yeah, he should get voted for.
You're a much more supportive teammate than Wadid is. Wadid is
the real
selfish.
support on
there
this
you go.
team.
Yankees,
like
baby. The other question I've been told we have to ask is, what is the secret, Perks? Did you find out the secret?
Oh, the secret? Yeah, well, the secret was that Jankos didn't want to tell me the secret. So I had to run it down, you know, and lose the game for my team. But the secret is still a secret for you guys, but I found the secret.
I guarantee it's dumb.
It's, it's 100%. Almost certainly going to be dumb, yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not very smart, you know, when it's from Jankos. But yeah, it's, yeah.
You know the secret. Okay.
Oh my God.
One day we'll find out. Tune in next time for EU LCS. Deep dive on the secret, a 60 minutes investigation.
It's one of our new campaigns to pull viewers back. It's like, hey, there's
Maybe
a secret.
this week we find out the secret, guys. All right. Regardless, you guys had a pretty good game against Vitality. It did feel very back and forth there in the middle. So despite the fact that you guys are coming off that 2-loss streak, that you did manage to get the win in the end. How did you feel about G2's performance as a team?
I think we are playing pretty badly. And
this play was great.
Yeah, it was really insane by him. But we have to like get back on the track, you know, because it's kind of like a slump right now. But every good team comes back from a slump, and we picked up a win. You know, I'm pretty proud of how we played after early game. We were struggling a bit in the game, and like lost with our calls and what to do. But after like when the mid game comes, it feels like we were like stable again, and that we were like strong at knowing what to do and when to do, and we were just a better team than them. That's why we won. So that feels good, right? Even though our early game was like atrocious.
Yeah, everything we've actually been showing so far is Vitality killing G2, which did happen a lot in that mid game. But I feel like every 5-on-5 team fight was G2 favored. A lot of it was, you know, good engage. Like we did here, Yana is like on touch, gets to just completely unleash, and then it was actually a funnel comp, but the funnel part didn't end up being the most important thing, which was really good for G2. So it was an interesting game. I was actually super entertained until the very last team fight where I was like, okay, G2's for sure gonna win this game now. There's like no way Vitality can come back.
The amount of times that Brand got like the Nutso ult with Perks also getting to lay down like Talia and throw out like 6 Qs in a team fight, I was like, there's just no way at this point. But the good news is, even though you say G2 is slumping as a team, even though you guys are struggling, you still took a win in your slump off another top 4 team, off someone you're in theory vying for seeding against in the playoff race. So despite the fact that, yes, you guys did lose to Misfits, you had that rough week, you lost to Giants, things still seem to look really good for G2 right now.
Well, yeah, I think we are still like a pretty strong team, right? It's not to like underestimate us. We have like really good fundamentals, we have really strong players, we worked a lot to get to where we are like on the base grounds. So we just have to like find the groove again, which like get us to be the best team, you know. Like right now Misfits is 9-0, so we are just like aiming for that rematch, you know, against Misfits. Like we are looking at them, we're just waiting to match them, you know.
Between that and the secret, we've got everything we need. Build up hype,
Secret,
the revenge match.
That's the great thing about Misfits being 9-0, is that right now all the other top teams are trying to say, nah, we can beat them, it's going to be great. So every storyline is laid out. We just need to be like, who's Misfits playing this week? It's Fnatic. Whoa, that game, that's going to be insane. You guys should watch. And then G2, probably the Vitality game is in there.
When is it? Right now, like every game is hype.
Tomorrow, baby.
Tomorrow. Do you know which game?
Last game of the day.
Game 4,
G2 round out the day.
But you're talking about
really G2
versus Rockats.
Yeah. Guys, we're gonna look at the schedule and like it's like at the end. You're gonna get to see it. You don't need to play the guessing game with the schedule. But you talk about every game being good.
I mean, from Misfits, because if they lose to like a volunteer team,
that's like hype.
Then it's really hype, you know. Like there is like right now it's pressure on them, you know. I've been in a situation once when I lost my undefeated streak in my last game, so that was like really sad, you know. I mean, it was like not in the big picture super sad, but losing the other, like when you have the chance, like you're like 1 game away, you know, from winning it, you're like, oh man, you know, we just lost. But yeah, I hope Misses can go like whatever 14, 15-0 until we meet them, and then like I want to see the feeling.
Ooh, you're cold.
I want to see the feeling, how it feels to take down the undefeated. You know, that must feel good. Like that must be.
Are you gonna like go back and watch the player cams if you do win, and like look at the look in their eyes as they lose the game? Like,
yeah, for sure.
He walks up to Senkex afterwards, shakes his hand, and goes, "Who's number one?" And then just keeps walking.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm excited for the
I will not do that.
Who can reign over Sensei regards?
I'm excited for the matchup regardless. There was one moment today, though, that really stood out for me. I'm calling it the greatest play of all time.
Overstatement. Are we not doing shocking statements? Intro to play, mate.
All right, so here's the deal. Right here, we have Schalke on the precipice of giving up a loss to H2K. H2K,
wow.
Their hopes are alive and well, and then in a single moment, a top laner takes everything away from them. It's like a blockbuster movie right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I actually went to shower, so I didn't get to see it live. But then my team was like, "Wow, that was insane!" And then I went and rewatched it, and like definitely, like Chachi Poppy was so there that. Yeah,
the OG Poppy player comes in clutch.
It's his comfort champ. It is.
It's actually he got into the LCS by playing Poppy when they were down already 2-0 in a series.
Also, that champion was so.
That was a different champion back then.
That was one of the worst designed champions of all time. She was like weirdly OP, but also useless. So shout out to Chachi.
She was mainly just useless, unless you needed to one-shot one target.
The passive was so broken. That's the only thing I remember. Is the
Let's just say good rework,
sure,
so you can do what Chachi just did.
Exactly.
You said you can smite while in the air. Did you find out if that's true or not?
I did not. I know you can smite while knocked up, but I don't know if specifically like the airborne and the untargetable, we didn't end up figuring that out.
Because, I mean, the Drake was low.
Drake was at 300 health. So I'm going to assume that for Shook's sake, that he absolutely could not smite in that scenario.
I mean, he could smite before he got ulted away.
Before he got ulted away.
It was already like low. So it was already really low before he got ulted away. So.
We're trying to be in the big play zone here.
Yeah, I mean,
It didn't work out.
It can happen to anyone.
Was this the greatest play you've ever seen?
Have you lost?
It was so great.
This was the greatest play you've ever seen.
No,
I deliberately called it that because it was the most over-the-top ridiculous
I would not go that far, but it was like definitely very good for him.
I will say, if you make that play in the World Final, Game 5, and you win the whole thing for your team, it is the greatest play ever seen.
That was G2 versus Splice Game 5 from last year, where you flashed over the wall as Cassio and Mitty had that crazy Alistair.
Oh yeah, me and Mitty were like really in the zone.
Those are the kind of plays I'm talking about.
I mean, I was hinting that series, but I was still in the zone, you know?
It's true, you were hard in the
zone. I was like, I'm hinting, but I'm still in the zone. Like, if I lose now, it sucks, but yeah.
All right, well, when we take a look at the LCS as a whole, of course, still currently leading the EU LCS, we have the undefeated Misfits with the first round robin going every game in their favor. Just behind them, G2 Esports, Fnatic behind them. Schalke's in 4th, along with Team Vitality.
Oh yeah, what the hell?
I didn't even... We're so close in the standings that I forget how important these single games are.
Yeah, so Schalke are steadily moving their way up. I'm still not convinced by Schalke. So far, they haven't done anything this split that has made them... to me, seem like a competitor against the top 3 teams. And why are you giving me that eye?
Because we just watched the Vizichachi play where...
Yeah, great. Yeah. They almost lost to a team that hasn't won a game this split. So
how is that even relevant? They won the game.
I'm just saying, considering how H2K have performed this split, and they're a team that's looking to contest the top spots, the fact that it was such a close game against H2K is a little concerning.
Here's the thing, though, if you're Schalke, like, we can't start talking about top 3 already. We haven't even finished talking about top 6 for Schalke yet.
It's true.
So we got to stay in that one, saying they are now on a 3-game win streak, as predicted in ReadyCheck during the argument between Schalke and Unicorns of Love, who will make playoffs. Schalke, obviously, from my side, ends up looking pretty good right now. Tomorrow, I believe they play against Unicorns. If they win that, it's 4 games in a row. They've only played bottom 5 teams, obviously, last week and this week.
Also,
that's a playoff team right there.
As a heads up, I've just been fed incredibly important information in that our scoreboard is perfectly mirrored. So
Oh, yeah.
EU LCS aesthetics, I guess. Let's go. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was you're talking about Schalke a lot right now. Perks, I wanted to get your opinion because we had Jankos and Wadid on the podcast, and they both firmly believed that Schalke was going to be in playoffs.
100%.
At the end, was it 80 from Jankos, 100
from Wadid.
Wadid. How do you feel about this team right now? Do you think that they're like the clearly in the top 6?
I mean, like looking at Unicorns, Giants, and HDK, that's like 3 teams, right? So there's, well, I wouldn't say they're like clearly for like 100%, but they're like 90% sure of playoffs. Like I would say that, you know, because they only have to be better than Rocket, right? I still believe Splice can probably be decent because they're ranked 3 last split. So I believe they can like pick up some more wins. And it's just gonna be like a close race. I mean, I believe in Schalke. Yeah.
So we had 80, 90, and 100% right now.
And what are you at, Deficio?
I said to Wadid, I'm with him on 100%.
Vedius, would you like to vote 70 for Schalke, or do you want to pick
Oh, you a
different
hater.
one?
No, I'm not a hater.
But you can also just pick a different team for the record.
I still think that they have a really good shot. I think it's realistic based on... I think it's more to do with the fact that I think our bottom teams are just that much worse than like the other teams, that it makes it difficult realistically to see them competing. And unless H2K and Giants have a sudden miracle run, which I just don't see happening, they're not going to be challenging like the 6th spot. And so the only teams you're competing with are Roccat, Splice, and Unicorns. And Unicorns really struggle to turn their scrim performance into stage performance. Splice and Roccat are the only 2 that I don't know, but I can definitely see Schalke being more consistent and reliable than Roccat. So I could see Splice, Schalke, Vitality, Fnatic.
So what are we at here? 99%?
So I'm going to say like 85.
I mean, it happened last split that H2K and Unicorns took the miracle run.
Yeah,
but if
it's
H2K wants to do
A
that,
little bit too late now.
I think it's about time right now.
Right now, with the
Right now it's about time.
That Schalke game actually could have been
the start.
exactly what they needed until the greatest play we've ever seen happen.
Yes.
It's true. It didn't. Now they're at 09. Things are tough, but they could just turn it around in a miracle run.
They could.
It would be one of the greatest esports stories of all time, I feel
You should
like.
definitely watch the H2K games because they might get the turnaround. Who do they play tomorrow?
Might or might not.
They might.
I told you we
Or might not.
Oh yeah, we're getting that schedule.
But the
later.
one thing I also wanted to... So we had the Moose on earlier in the day, and Misfits being 9-0, Graham was like, how's it feel? And he's like, this is the luckiest 9-0 any team has ever had. He was like, we did not deserve to be 9-0. There are at least 3 games this split we definitely should have lost.
Yeah, earlier today.
He was just like, against G2, he feels that was a game they should have lost. He felt that Vitality could have gone either way, but Vitality just didn't play very well towards their win conditions. And then today...
I hate that comment, though.
They also could have lost today, and they felt like that this actually has been a very... And also, like, their win against Fnatic, they didn't feel like it was a real win because it was their first game of the split where they had the Janna
Oh, yes,
and the
the
Drake and
Janna
bot
game.
lane. So... They aren't actually thinking much about the 9-0, and they, like, all Moose says is, we just care about getting better as a team and
I mean,
trying...
they're not, but they really are. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Of course they are.
I can tell you from players' perspective, they are like,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
this all coach talk, we're looking to improve, we're just looking to be better than ourselves, but they're actually like, they know they're 9-0, but they, for sure, the games cannot be super clean, but they're for sure better than other teams right now, right?
fair. I
Since they
agree.
win every game, even when they played bad against every single team.
That's
in
when
the
you're a great
LCS,
team.
That's when you're a good team,
Yeah,
right?
you are correct.
Yeah, so they're probably like really like, oh, we are so good, like we're gonna smash everyone. You know?
I mean, we've heard the interviews already. Good old Sencooks is getting very confident as well, and he deserves it. He's playing well at the moment.
Absolutely does. I'm excited for that
oh
matchup
yeah, that's
tomorrow.
actually really fun.
Also,
I really want to see it tomorrow. Like, it's,
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
like
great.
now it makes it more hype, you know.
Yeah,
Him
Cap
versus Cap.
15-0.
Best Danish mid laner. Like,
Oh.
ooh, that's a fight right there.
Oh.
That's actually like that. You should make it like a story for tomorrow. Who is the best Danish?
We just
mid laner?
did, baby, right here.
Can we enter Perks every year in the best Danish mid laner? I know you're Croatian, but you're already the best Croatian mid laner. I feel
Yeah,
like we should
come on.
enter you into the Danish mid laner competition just so a Croatian could win it. I feel like that would make me laugh.
We don't want Croatia beating us again. Let's keep it the way it is now.
Out of that competition because
Yes.
they already
It's
win
only
it,
Danish
Draco.
players. We can't lose if it's only
Limit it so
Danes.
Perks can't participate.
Yes.
All right. I like it. It's a good strategy. Well, gentlemen, before we talk about tomorrow and tomorrow's matchup more in depth, we are now officially at the halfway point for the split in terms of games played. So I did want to look back at the mid-split MVPs. We talked about it earlier today. I want to start with you, Deficio. Maxlor is the man you voted for as your mid-split MVP. Give us a little context here. Talk to me about Maxlor.
So some of it is obviously insight into how Misfits functions, and Maxwell is a player that is obviously not visible when you just watch the games, but he is like, he's the vocal member. He's always been the leader on the team also last year with Misfits, and a lot of the early game success is something where he's extremely important in actually setting up everything with the team. Like, everything that happened today was him shadowing around Senkux on the Yasuo, always forcing plays. Like, I think a lot of what happens for Misfits is because of him, which is why he's the most valuable player. You can obviously make an argument saying almost everyone on that team is playing well, so everyone looks better, and then is there someone else on a team where he has to like hard solo carry? Like Caps today looked super, super good. But I think generally what Maxwell is doing for Misfits is just so insane, and that's why he's my MVP so far.
And Luca, we asked you right before, and you're in agreement with Officio here in terms of MVP. Is there anything that you think that he didn't touch on that really makes Maxlor like a standout?
Everything that Fisher said is just perfection, as usual, you know.
Thank you, mate. Clip that one for social media, guys. Get it for social media.
I think just Maxlor is like playing super well. I think like the key to performing well team is a very good jungler that plays well around his team, and he plays super well around mid, very well with bot pressure, and he knows that he should leave Alfari alone and just play around mid and bot.
This is why you're the jungler on G2 now?
Yeah.
You lost faith in Jankos. You're like, yeah, you get.
Yeah, I know how to play around mid and how to smite. I'm joking. I think Jankos is a really, really good jungler. I think if anyone can contest with Maxter, it's Jankos. Yeah. So anyone else is like a little tier below. That's how I feel like.
Just keep building up that matchup, baby. That's all I want to see. Just keep building up the G2 versus Misfits rematch. Vedis, you had a different take. The only
I will say that I agreed, and I do think that Maxlor is a strong contender for MVP. Sure. But my kind of MVP has slightly been swayed today by Alfari. And a large part of it, I already talked a lot about today how with very few resources he does a lot. The Moose made a comment today to me where he said he believes that Alfari is the faker of Europe. Those are the words that he used, right? And so far this split, all we've seen is Alfari playing tanks. And so far, he's not really a huge carry playmaking type of player, right? But what I will say about Alfari is he's unbelievably consistent. He's extremely versatile in terms of the champions that he can play and what kind of responsibilities you can put on him. And I also just think that the fact that right now a meta that doesn't play around him still allows him to like find solo kills onto Wonder, still be hugely impactful, have a really good understanding of how to play the game. I just feel like he's doing a lot of things really, really well, but he's just not making any flashy plays that doesn't make him super noticeable. So to me, he's just so reliable and so consistent that he is extremely valuable to the success of this team and should also be in the discussion around a worthy MVP candidate.
Do you think that's fair? Or is it just at this point like...
I'm a bit biased. I had some... I will just not comment on this.
All right, fair.
I think he's playing very well. I think because a lot of his job is to be left on his own. Like, it's an extremely important part of Misfit's success. I don't think it's the most valuable part of it, which is the only thing for me that puts someone like Maxlor, you know, above Alfari in this case. I think we've seen this a lot from other players as well in the past, where on a very successful team, you need certain members that get sacrificed a little bit. There's just not enough farm for everyone. Not everyone can be the big carry. And while Alfari is doing that super well, and I think he's actually performing very well, it doesn't make him the most valuable player for me. But of course, he should be up there in the discussion with all the other top.
It's hard when a 9-0 team is up there not to put a lot of players from that team on the list. I do want to ask one thing, though. Every time we talk about MVP, the criteria comes into question. And it's never really defined, I think intentionally so people can interpret it how they want.
Right.
But I want to double check with you guys. Are you talking about the strongest individual player, the player that you feel contributes the most? Because the other criteria that we hear about a lot is the one player where if this guy was not on the team, they would suck. Like, he is the clear carry of the team, the hands down best player on his team, single reason that they're winning games. Is Maxwell that guy for Misfits? Is Alfari that guy for Misfits? Or are you guys just looking at the objectively kind of best player?
So I always look at value in terms of what they bring to a team and the amount of impact that they have with regards to the entire team. Like, whether they make a huge number of plays or whether they're a big carry is less of a factor. Like, it's still a contributing factor, but I always think of it as value. And so I think that if you lost Alfari, then Misfits would have many more exploitable weaknesses. I say many more. They would have exploitable weaknesses rather than right now where they don't need to. But again, I look at Maxlore and you can say that if you take that away too, then you'll also lose a lot. So I think that there are many candidates on this Misfit squad, but that's kind of how I look at MVP. I look at the amount of value that they bring to a team, and very much if you took them out, how would this team perform?
I changed it a little bit so it fits my narrative.
I actually disagree a little bit with that. I think how Misfits works right now is that if you remove one of those players and put a player that is equally as good, they will be exactly the same team because of how well they're orchestrated within the team and how well the structure works right now. So, of course, the player will have to be like around equally skilled.
Sure.
But I think the Maxer is the most integral part of the team. If you would remove him, the team would not be nearly the same. So that's why Maxer is my MVP vote.
I generally think for fans and casters who do not have like the deep insight into what happens in terms of communication within a team, technically for us the MVP vote should typically be around who's the most skilled player, because we're saying now that Maxlore, he's the leader, and that's because we know Maxlore, we've followed the team,
and you're obviously using information
that
maybe hasn't shown up on broadcast from talking to people behind the scenes.
Exactly, because otherwise, like you can look at individual performance and you can say Perks and Caps, these kind of players, stand above a lot of others in Europe. But we obviously don't know if Perks is being a huge burden for his team vocally in the game. Maybe he's just screaming for resources all the time, and everyone else is not afraid to do.
I do some really bad calls.
Stuff like that can happen. So we can't give it to Perks based on leadership because we don't actually know.
Sure.
So we have to therefore base it on individual skill. I generally think that should be the way to do it if you don't actually have the full insight into what's going on behind the scene or on stage for a team. So it technically should be just pure skill, even though I'm picking Maxlore now.
I am curious though.
You're saying he's unskilled, Deficio?
Yeah, he's garbage. You see that Talia knockback he had in week 1?
Let's just replay that every time. This is the weakness for Misfits, guys. We found it. It's this one Talia knockback, I swear. Humor me a bit. So if we were to say, even from an outside perspective, that if there was one player that is like 50% of his team, right? Like the player who, without him, the team falls apart. Who would that be? Now, you've credited to Maxlore a little bit, but is there anyone else in the LCS where you think if this guy was not on this lineup, this entire team would just not work?
You really want to say Memento. I can feel it. Like, I can see that you want to be like,
I mean,
Memento.
I want it because we've had this discussion separately off broadcast, and the answer was Memento. No, I didn't want you to say. I was curious what Vedius, what Luka Perkovic thought.
Well, I mean, so...
Say Memento.
No, I mean, a part of me kind of wants to say Perks, only because, like, based on when I've seen, like, we've seen Wonder on previous teams before. We've seen Yankus on previous teams before. And we've seen Hyanan and Wadid on previous teams before, right? Whenever Perks has been in any team, that team has always found a lot of success and has always performed at an extremely high level. Whereas these players, now that they've come together, are all working very well and they're all very skilled. But I feel like that when you have this kind of mid-lane talent and the way in which he brings all of them together, I think that that level of value helps enable this team a lot. And if you just take Perks out and you put another like mid to top tier mid laner in there, that G2 squad would be quite different, in my opinion. Now, I have Perks here, so maybe he can tell me I'm wrong.
Why would you do that? It's great branding. It's like,
As much as I'm really flattered, I don't think that I'm that insanely stand out or anything, and I think my teammates are playing really well. And the reason why you guys are probably saying that is because of the funnel comps, which is mostly up to my teammates. I think I do perform really well when there is no funnel as well, and I feel like the funnel is maybe now getting like people know how to play against it, like play way more aggressive in the early game, so it's harder for us to perform. And I think that all of my teammates are playing really well. And if anyone that you mentioned is like, I would agree with Memento, because I didn't even I thought to myself when you asked the question, I was thinking like, so. Our first name that popped up was like Cups, but I was thinking if they put anyone but Cups, like it would be like not as good, right? Because Cups is insane, but it would be still like they still have Soas, still have Brox that is like rock solid, and they're like their bot lane is honestly like really insane right now in this meta. I feel like that Fnatic bot lane is just super good. They have insane champion pool and they like kill bot 2v2 every game. Besides, I guess Team Liquid, I guess. But we don't talk about the game. So. Yeah, I just think there is not such thing in League right now that I mean, maybe I'm wrong, you know, but yeah, Memento is a good example.
I mean, yeah, because if you take Memento out of Rocket at the moment, it's hard to see how they win games because that's kind of been the win condition. Today they actually had a chance to win a game without Memento doing well on the carry.
True.
Like they got Hiku to 4 items on Ezreal, they had Swain on 4 items, and they walk into the next team fight and everything just falls apart in the fight. And Blank is out of position. Hiku ends up just hitting a wind wall for like 2 seconds, and then he gets knocked up and he dies. And it just showed like for Rocket to actually be a top team in Europe, which I don't think is fully possible, but for them to actually get there, it is really Memento who has to do so much, and that's a strategy that simply won't work for you against good teams because they will have a player who can just match Memento individually, and then that was your advantage. It's gone now, and then the other players might just get outmatched, or as a team you're not playing as well. So I think it is really rough for them. I'm trying to think about other teams because Unicorns, it's a trio at the moment.
But if you took Cold out, do you think that team could still function the way it does?
I mean, Cold is good.
They're definitely worse.
I think Cold is probably the MVP of that team, but I think it would be hard to say that it's the same degree as Memento and Roccat, right? In the sense that they would be worse, but I don't know if Roccat would even pick up wins without Memento. Right now.
I vote for Cold for MVP of the split.
Right now? What about Schalke without Nuke Duck? Because
I have such mixed, can we just like...
The year of the Ducks. The year of the Ducks.
Maybe.
I mean,
you are the number one fan.
It's really hard because that guy is...
Who else carries on that team?
Right now?
Yeah, this split.
Probably no one.
Visit Chachi in that one poppy play, baby. But otherwise, no, it's been really inconsistent. You're right, Nuke Duck, yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying he's like the most important player in the league or anything, but...
For Schalke, I think he is.
I feel like right now, the way they've been winning games, except for the one today against H2K, has mainly been trying to get Nuke Duck fed in the games. Because their bot lane they can't rely on, that's for sure.
It's been a struggle for them. Well, thank you for humoring me in terms of talking about individual team MVPs and different kind of criteria for MVPs, but you brought up Nuke Duck, you bring up Cold. They get to play together tomorrow. It's the starting clash between playoff contenders. You lost in the Twitch chat vote today. Unicorns of Love came on tap.
He lied to the viewers and said it was a horse. It's clearly a unicorn.
The horn is cut off here, dude. That looks like a horse to me. I think Foxtrot might have come out.
You can see the horn.
Yeah,
a bit, like
the horses of love. Doesn't really sound that great.
So H2K versus Giants. Is this when the win streak begins?
I actually think Giants have looked better the last 2 games than the first 7 or so they played. The G2 win obviously was a very sloppy game.
Yes.
I think Perk will not allow me to say Giants played well in that one.
I mean, they punished us
They
for our
did.
mistakes, but we were literally running it down. And I was running it down 2 times, not once, 2 times in a row. And if I didn't do those 2 mistakes, the game was like for sure won because I was really fast. But I was like first timing Aatrox, of course. And my jungler in Champion Select, like I told him Aatrox win is good, and he's like, people play Aatrox? Me? And then he told Aatrox was going top, and I'm like, yeah, Aatrox win is really good, like trust me, you know? And I was really fed, but I failed my team, so we lost.
Well, if it wasn't for the last 2 games, I wouldn't have really put any faith into Giants. But I think actually they've done better. Also, the game today, they could easily have won that one.
Wait. That implied that you had faith in H2K. Where did that faith come from?
No faith in them.
Okay.
Just more to step away from a 50-50 prediction here.
Okay.
You know, I give this like 70% Giants, 30% H2K.
That was the least confident percentage rank. You changed like 3 times before the.
I mean, I can't fully call them the big favorites, but.
That matchup will be interesting. 2 teams fighting at the bottom of the table. Misfits Fnatic is our match of the week, though.
So hyped.
Before we close this out, I do want to get some final thoughts. How do people feel like this matchup's going to go? I know what your prediction is because we said on the show, and we're actually going toe-to-toe for Euphoria bet on this one. But for you, Vedius, for clarity, I'm Fnatic. He's Misfits. But for you, Vedius and Perks, I want you guys to weigh in. Who do you think is going to come out on top in this matchup?
So, I think Misfits will win. I think overall, across the board, they're really consistent. I have a lot of faith in their 2 versus 2 that they won't just kill themselves against.
You're kind of taking credit away from Wimbo and Hillis.
I know, right?
You're just saying that the way that they die is they have to into these guys.
No, you are great. That's fair. That's fair. They are actually a really good bot lane, and they do often find 2v2 kills. And we did see Hans Summer actually int against Vitality, so it's not like he can't do it because he has had bad games, but I feel like they're expecting Fnatic to draft very much towards early game. They want to find early skirmishes, and so if you come in with the mindset of, we want to either avoid this or match this, then I think that you will come in better prepared than they have done against, say, like Vitality, for example. So I feel like overall, Misfits is a stronger team, and if Bwipo doesn't find that advantage in the bot lane, I do think that Fnatic often struggle. And if they don't find those early kills, they often struggle. So, yeah, I'm very much on the Misfits hype train.
Do you have a differing opinion? You support Misfits?
First of all, I have a question for you, Dracos.
Yes.
And if you should. Like, my jungler and support were in Euphoria, so I wonder what is the bet? Like, because Janko said Fnatic will win, of course. He loves Fnatic. And Wadid said Misfits will win. So... what do you guys think? What happened? Because then I can give my answer on what I think.
Okay, so the bet is
you have to eat
like
spicy
what are the
food.
Diffusio and
stakes?
Wadid are a team, and me and Yankos are a team, and the loser has to
Eat spicy food.
eat the spiciest food we can find, which right now is still the spicy ramen that Wadid gave us, the spicy ramen challenge ramen. Do you know?
Yeah,
They said that everyone at G2 tried it, and then you have to, before you can have water or milk or anything to reduce the spiciness, you have to give a detailed match breakdown of Misfits versus Fnatic for anyone who wants to watch.
Well, that's
Couple of minutes
a
long.
really low challenge for Wadid. Because he's Korean, so his chances, like his bet was like very actually low hopes on Misfits, you know. So if he loses, he can just do it for no problem. So
I'm gonna suffer next to it, baby. I will
say Fnatic will win, just because. No, actually, it doesn't make any sense because I said,
You can join the bet if you want.
I said that I want Misfits to be 15-0, so like we can meet them. But I know I'm saying that Fnatic will win, so I don't know what to say. Okay, so I think that.
Great analysis.
If I judge from my personal point of view, I think Fnatic will win. But if I look at the LCS games and compare the two teams, I could say, sure, Misfits is a stronger team, right? And they look better. But something tells me that Fnatic's going to win tomorrow.
I'm actually really
Do you want to
scared.
join the bet and eat ramen, really hot ramen, and potentially break down a game tomorrow?
Or Friday next week.
Or Friday next week. We don't know.
I'm really bad at handling the hard run.
That's
Join me, baby.
Because Diffusio can't either, and that will be funny, but you actually have to go play League of Legends, so I don't want you to get hurt in
Here's
any
the
way.
thing that scares me. One, I feel like Misfits have to lose at some point. That is a dumb feeling.
Yeah,
But
true.
Caps in his interview today said we have something special prepared. And that scares me a lot. Because in best of ones, Fnatic, they're creative. They have a lot of flexibility in what they can do. I can see them surprise Misfits, who's getting a little bit complacent up there at the top, you know, feeling like just draft the same 80 carries every time.
I also think Misfits bot lane is a prime culprit of a 2v2 that when they see something new, they don't know how to play against it, and that is the kind of bot lane that Fnatic likes to play. Like, the fact that Fiddle Gangplank got a kill at level 3 today, no one was expecting that, right? And if you've never seen that bot lane before, there's no reason why it can't happen to you.
I kind of disagree because Misfits bot lane does play a lot of solo queue. Like, insane amount of solo queue, so they do they face these off picks, and they're like really, they have really good game sense, right? So even though they sometimes don't play perfectly after lane, Mickey and Hans are super strong on lane as well. So I cannot really see them getting cheese there that much, but maybe like...
I'm just scared about mid, man.
Maybe like, I don't know, as a whole team, you know? I mean, we will see. It's definitely going to be a very close match, but maybe, like, actually, remove what I said. It's definitely not going to be a close match. It's going to be super one-sided for one team. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. This match is
early game snowball.
I hope, for our sake, it's a hype match that is Game 4 tomorrow. For now, though, we've got a game between Team Liquid and Cloud9 coming up in the NA/LCS Academy, followed by a rebroadcast of our show here from the EU LCS. So watch that if you're excited about Academy League. And then come back mañana tomorrow. Misfits versus Fnatic. That's Game 4. It's going to be hype. It's time for us now to call it a night. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Perks, you especially.
Thank you very much for having me, Dracos.
Okay, this is why we keep bringing you
It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and it just makes me smile every time I get to be in the same room with you.
Thank you.
And with you, and with you.
The
Wish you not so much, but
Really?
you do have some smart things to say here and there.
All
so
those nice comments
right.
before out the window now.
Love you. Stop being sassy. Join us tomorrow for more action in the EU LCS. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.
Why am I clapping?
I don't know. Good.
kills for Giants, a perfect team fight for them in the middle of the lane. Oh, Nifty, you beauty! You can just take it. Giants can't do anything against you. Lamb's respite keeps Betsy alive for the moment, but Collie is dominating, and Splice take the Nexus and take the win. Here's Schalke, and you have to feel the winner will be the winner of the game. That's a superb play. They say it's his week. They say it's his year. Well, this is his game. They don't know where Schalke are. Now they realize amazing. Shredded through that Black Cleaver doing work. Bam, and knock away. Amazing, get in there. Schalke, no fear. Finally fight against their demons. They take down H2K.
Alfari gets the final hit. True shot. Barrage comes in too late. Let's see how the fight's going to go down. Norscarin just gets melted off the face. The barrel's going to come out. Senka's going to try to get the massive kill. The Lamb's respite keeping everyone alive for a few more seconds, but Senka's will take down Blink, and it is Misfits cleaning house. Then he goes down, and it won't be the case that Misfits will take a loss here. 9-0 at the halfway point of the split. For Unicorns to send Cold to the mid, and Exile's going to need some more help. But you've got another all-in here. Gangplank getting a little bit of an assist in Exile. We've seen this movie before. And look at Captain Brox, about enough time for them to come to this party, and it looks like it will be Unicorns going away. Cold, he's gone down, and they just couldn't find a thing. But he'll say, the Immortal Caps looking to stack it up. Shut down Gold, 15 kills in a Nexus. GG and good night. He does find a ton of damage onto Perks. There's a Sleepy Trouble bubble, body block, flash, and ignite. Goodbye. As Jacktroll comes back up, only to wave goodbye to this game. G2 Esports open their week 5 with a victory over Vitality.